Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that literally sounds like science fiction, but it is a technological horizon that could completely redefine what it actually means to be human. We're stepping way beyond our everyday gadgets and exploring the incredible and, frankly, kind of wild possibilities of a globally connected human consciousness. So get comfortable and let's explore a future that's rushing toward us a whole lot faster than you might think. So, let's start with a massive what if. What if neural links connected every single human brain? Right now, we live in the era of the Internet of Things, right? Your phone connects to your watch, which talks to your fridge, your car, your thermostat. But what happens when we make the leap from connecting our devices to connecting our actual biological neural pathways? We're talking about a shift that completely rewrites the rulebook on human interaction, privacy, and honestly, existence itself. And that brings us to the core concept here, the Internet of Minds. This isn't just about faster scrolling or hands-free typing. We're talking about a literal, real-time neural network. You wouldn't just browse the web anymore, you would actually be the network. It's a total transition into a shared human consciousness. In this explainer, we're going to break down the incredible good this could bring, the potentially terrifying bad, and the deeply complex gray areas of living with a globally linked mind. Section 1, The End of Misunderstanding, Instant Telepathy. Let's look at the utopian side first, specifically completely overhauling how we communicate. There's this idea that language is a lossy compression format. Think about it. When you speak or write, you're essentially taking a deeply complex, multidimensional thought or feeling, and you're forcing it into a flat, linear stream of words. Information naturally gets lost. Nuance gets lost. But in a fully connected neural network, you wouldn't have to try and articulate how you feel. You wouldn't just say, I'm sad or I'm excited. You would just transmit the exact raw neural signature of that emotion for someone else to experience firsthand. The upside of this kind of instant telepathy is just staggering. First off, you get perfect empathy. Deception basically becomes impossible because you literally cannot fake a raw neural state. If someone experiences your actual thoughts, the truth is unavoidable. And then there's hypercollaboration. Imagine a whole team of engineers or maybe doctors perfectly pulling their working memory to solve a global crisis. We're talking about complex problem solving that usually takes decades, happening in a matter of seconds because brains are working in flawless, simultaneous harmony. Section 2, the identity crisis. Where do I end? But, right, it's not all sunshine and perfect teamwork. We have to look at the dystopian flip side. And the biggest hurdle is this deeply philosophical question. Where do you end? How do you keep your own distinct, isolated sense of self, your personality, your own inner voice, when your brain is constantly being bombarded with the sensory inputs, the memories, and the emotional background noise of thousands of other people? The erosion of the ego becomes a really monumental challenge. On a micro level, you've got mental intrusion. What happens if a connected peer experiences intense physical pain or a sudden panic attack? Does that wave of neural firing just cascade right into your own cortex? Do you physically feel their agony? But then, zoom out to the macro level, the hive mind. Over time, human society might just stop functioning as a collection of unique individuals. Instead, we could start operating as a biological superorganism, very much like a honeybee colony or an anthill, driven completely by a single collective purpose rather than our own individual desires. Section 3, the ultimate trade-off, individual versus hive. To really wrap our heads around the magnitude of this shift, let's compare the reality we live in today versus this hypothetical connected future. Take communication speed. Today, we speak at roughly 150 words per minute. In the hive mind, you're transmitting near instantaneous data packets at the literal speed of neural firing. Look at memory capacity. Right now, you're strictly limited to your local biological brain. But tomorrow, you'd have decentralized, cloud-style access to the collective sum of all human knowledge. But the costs are severe. Today, your privacy sovereignty is absolute. Your thoughts are entirely your own. In that connected future, there is zero default privacy. You would literally need heavy cryptographic firewalls just to have a private thought. Your identity goes from highly distinct and isolated to totally fluid, overlapping, and deeply communal. Section 4, the 2026 reality check, moving out of the lab. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds like pure science fiction, set hundreds of years in the future. But the foundational infrastructure for a collective consciousness is already here. Take the number 1024. Right now, today, invasive brain-computer interfaces like Neuralinks and OneChip are being implanted into human subjects using 1,024 distinct electrodes. And what exactly are those electrodes doing? Well, they're decoding motor intent with over 95% accuracy. 95%. The brain is successfully communicating its movement intentions directly to a machine in real time with just incredibly high fidelity. But it gets wilder because it's not just invasive tech that requires surgery. Check out this number, 61%. Non-invasive technology, like Meta's brain-to-QWERTY V2 model, is decoding thoughts from completely external sensors with up to 61% accuracy. They are literally reading thoughts from outside the skull. No surgery required. So let's connect the dots here to see what this means for our current reality. We are actively mastering the ability to read individual brains. We're actively working on writing data directly back to individual brains. And once you can read and write data to a single brain, linking two brains together isn't some pipe dream. It is the inevitable, logical next horizon. The stepping stones are literally being laid right now. Which brings us to the ultimate thesis on what happens when this technology scales up. If brain-computer interfaces become as totally ubiquitous as the smartphone in your pocket, the defining conflict of the future isn't going to be over physical borders. It won't even be over who owns your digital data on social media. The ultimate battleground will be over cognitive liberty. Cognitive liberty, the right to keep your mind offline. That is the phrase you need to remember. Think about it. When the entire world is communicating telepathically, solving massive problems in seconds, and sharing this boundless cloud of human memory, opting out is going to put you at a massive disadvantage. But honestly, it might be the only way to remain truly individually you. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one big question to ponder. When the Internet of Minds goes live, how fiercely will you protect your right to an isolated mind? Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.